Welcome to the Home Team, the show where no matter who you cheer for here, you're part of the Home Team. I'm your host, Wyatt Bagnall, and today we are previewing Week 15 of the 2024 NFL season. Before we jump in, hit like, hit subscribe, share the video with anyone you know who likes football. I would really appreciate it. Before anything else, I'll give a quick recap for Thursday Night Football. Rams defeat 49ers 12-6, no touchdowns in the game. Defensive battle. Rams fans, congratulations. I hope you guys win the division, frankly, because I just like you more than the Seahawks. Niners fans, it just wasn't our year. Like, we got glimpses in this game of what we could have looked like on defense had we just had our guys from the start, but we didn't. And I think just a full offseason to reload and reset is going to do this team a lot of good. And in the long run, I think that we'll be all right. But certainly disappointing wasn't our season. Obviously, there's the whole Devondre Campbell thing of him leaving in the third quarter. It's a pathetic gesture. It's a petty gesture. There are guys on this team two guys on this team that lost their children this year and have either come back to play or are working to come back to play. There are players that were shot in the chest before the season started, and they played this season. There are players that had major injuries that ended the years last year and had to come back and work all the way through adversity to come back this year. There were players that had to do a lot of things and show a lot of resilience, and this dude walked away because his feelings got hurt because he was getting replaced by a player that is better than him in every single way and has been ever since he entered the league. Glad that he's not a 49er anymore. Never deserved to be, never should be. I hope he never plays another snap in the NFL. And I hope the rest of the guys in that team can at least appreciate, how much they had to go through just to get to this point. And even though we're not going to make the playoffs this year, I'm proud of how this team fought all year. There was a lot of adversity to overcome for this team on and off the field. And sometimes it's just not your year. So that's all I got to say for Niner fans. Bang, bang, Niner gang for the rest of my life. But this year just wasn't our year. And Rams fans, like I said, congratulations. It wasn't a particularly impressive game by either team, but I hope you guys go and win the NFC West and in all likelihood get promptly eliminated from the playoffs. But that's not a shot at the Rams. I just don't think whoever won the NFC West this year is going to make much noise in the playoffs. So I hope you guys win the division. And good game. Good luck to you guys the rest of the way. So moving on to Week 15. On Sunday, we'll do the morning games first. So, the Kansas City Chiefs at the Cleveland Browns. I would love to see the Cleveland Browns win this game. Do I believe the Cleveland Browns will win this game? Probably not. However, I think that they have more of a chance than most people would probably be giving them right now. If Jameis Winston has a good game, they could definitely outscore the Chiefs. I just don't necessarily like living on the side of things of predicting that Jameis Winston's going to have a really clean, good game. It's just not how he plays football. So, as much as I would love Cleveland to win, and I hope Cleveland wins, I'm going to pick Kansas City to win that game. I think this will once again be a close game. I just don't think Kansas City's really capable of blowing a team out unless the team is just totally decimated. And Cleveland is not totally decimated. So, I'll take this to be a close game, and then really the difference will probably be Jameis Winston's going to throw probably an interception, or I'll say he's going to throw two because the Chiefs have a good defense. So Jameis might give them one, and then they might trick him for another. So I'll say that Kansas City gets 2 picks, and that's really how they win this game. I will say this, though. There is the path to victory for Cleveland is Myles Garrett just beats the hell out of those tackles. Both of those tackles could be on him at the same time, and I would take Myles Garrett to beat him. Like, those tackles are several levels below Myles Garrett as a player. You're going to need that running back, or I would say probably a backup tight end, because we all know Kelsey doesn't want any part of Myles Garrett. If Myles Garrett dominates this game, and as a result the Browns' defensive line is able to dominate this game, that's Cleveland's best shot to win. All right, Cincinnati at Tennessee. The Bengals need to win this game in order to keep their playoff hopes alive. Fortunately for them, the Titans are awful. They lost a really ugly one last week to Jacksonville. I would say that could happen again, and in fact, I would say it probably will. But I don't think that Tennessee's offense is going to look as bad as it did against the Jags, partially because they just did some nonsensical things in that game, and also, Cincinnati's defense is god-awful. Like, they're horrible. I think Cincinnati's going to win. I don't really know who I hope wins this game. I'm a little more neutral on this game, I guess you could say. I want Denver and the Chargers to both make the playoffs because I think that both of them have a really good shot at knocking off Kansas City, although I think Cincinnati has a good shot at it too. I don't know. I guess I'll say I hope Cincinnati wins. I hope that we have options for the final AFC playoff spots down the stretch. So I hope Cincinnati wins, and I think that they most likely will. Washington, the Washington Commanders at the New Orleans Saints. Saints play feisty, I guess you could say, but Derek Carr got hurt again, and I have no faith at all that the Saints are going to do much at that point. So I hope Washington wins this game. I think they're going to win, and I think they'll probably win by... See, I want to say they could win this by 2 touchdowns, but this Cliff Kingsbury trend for like his entire career of in the second half of seasons, his offenses just fall off. It's really a disturbing trend if you're any team that employs him, because it's every single year. Like, I don't know how this dude doesn't look during the offseason and evaluate how the hell this keeps happening. I'm still going to take Washington to win, but I'm going to say this game will be closer than it should be. So yeah, I'll still take Washington. Right now I have 3 road teams winning. Baltimore at the New York Giants. I'm going to have a 4th road team winning. Baltimore is going to win this game. I guess you could say I hope they win this game, even though I want them to not win the AFC North. So I guess I'll say I want the Giants to win this game, but I just know Baltimore is going to. So I'll take the Ravens, and I'll take this one to be a pretty decent-sized blowout. I know that it's the largest point spread of the season with all the sports books, so I think that Baltimore is going to win this one pretty handily, although Baltimore has a tendency to underperform in the games they're supposed to blow people out in, but I think you'd have to be pretty damn bad to lose to the Giants. Dallas at Carolina. The Dallas Cowboys coming off some close games, 2 victories against, not awesome competition the last couple weeks, and then they lose a absolutely ridiculous game last week when they block the punt, and then they touch the ball, like the punt gets blocked, and then their player touches it, and it becomes a live ball, and the Bengals recover, and the Cowboys lost because of that, essentially. So Dallas is playing okay football. Carolina's also playing okay football, like surprisingly feisty football. I think Dallas might be a bit dejected and have an emotional hangover, and they've never struck me as a particularly mentally tough team. They've always been a team of like, if they're really rolling, they'll blow you out. There's nothing you can do, but if you're able to just keep them in range of you, they aren't usually the team that makes the plays at the end of the games. And neither is Carolina. But I think Carolina is actually gaining confidence this year as the year goes on with all the close games against good teams. And I think Dallas is losing confidence as the year goes on. So I'm going to say that Carolina upsets the Cowboys and wins this game. And I hope that Carolina does. And I think Dallas fans, I think this is probably the best thing for you at this point also. Jets at Jaguars. Raise your hand if anybody's going to watch this game. This is a game that I would not want. You couldn't pay me to watch Jets Jaguars. Jeez. I mean, this game is important, I guess you could say, because it'll have a huge implication on the draft order. But my God. Who I hope wins this game? I don't know. I hope the Jets win this game because it would just be hilarious if they just like get a win right when it doesn't matter and they just screw themselves over. So I'll say the Jets for comedy's sake. And I think that the Jets probably will because the Mac Jones Jaguars are a particular breed of uninspiring, team. And yeah, that's a rough one. I'll just check the scores on that one. I'm not gonna try to be watching any parts of that game. Miami at Houston. Who? I'll say this. I hope the Texans win this game. I mean, not that it really matters. I mean, I guess technically the Colts are alive in the AFC South still, but Houston feels pretty significantly better. This is the few types of road games at this point in the year I think Miami's capable of winning because it's in a dome. But I just don't think they have it. I think that defensively, they're just not good enough. And I think that their offensive line is really vulnerable to guys like Will Anderson, Danielle Hunter. Their biggest advantage is Tua has like a sub 3 second average time to throw. And when you're getting the ball out that fast, a lot of times it's how you eliminate the pass rush. However, I think that the Texans have a pretty good secondary. Their corners in particular have played well. And I think that overall, the Texans are just a little more complete. And I think that the Texans are more prepared to play a physical type of game. They're more willing and able to defend, to like run the ball and defend the run. With Miami, it's a very simple formula. If you can stop the speed, you win. Like, they don't have a counterpunch. So if you get into a track meet with them, you're likely to lose. But it's really the only thing that Miami does well. And I think that that's something that the Texans should be capable of stopping. So I'm going to take the Texans. Indianapolis Colts at Denver Broncos. Broncos coming off a bye week. I hope the Broncos win this game, and I'm going to take the Broncos to win this game for a few reasons. Number one, the Colts defense is not one of the worst defenses in the NFL, but it's also not one of the best. And the Broncos offense has been getting steadily better throughout the year. And I think a big part of that is they practice against maybe the best defense in the NFL. Certainly a team that has a claim to that title. I think Denver's offense will be able to operate against the Colts. And I think Denver's defense is going to smother the Colts offense. I know Anthony Richardson has shown flashes every now and then since he got back starting. I don't believe he is good enough to beat the Broncos defense, plain and simple. I don't think that the Colts are going to get near 20 points. Maybe they score somewhere in like the 14 to 17 range, but I don't think they're going to move the ball very well. The Broncos secondary has the caliber of players to just match up man to man, and everything else is going to be about stopping that quarterback and stopping that running game. And the Broncos, I think they lead the league in sacks, or they did entering last week. Maybe after they had their bye week, it might have changed, but certainly entering their bye week, they led the league in sacks. And I think that while the Colts offensive line is really good, I think the Broncos secondary allows them to just mathematically overwhelm the Colts offensive line and to overrun their run blocking and pass protection. And I'll take the Broncos to win this game purely because I don't think the Colts offense is going to be able to function at a very high level. I think that the Colts defense will have their moments, but I just think Denver's going to do this. And if Denver wins this game, next week's game against Cincinnati, if they're both coming off a win, is going to become that much more crucial for both those teams. So I'm going to take the Broncos to win this game. Buffalo Bills at Detroit Lions. Now, this is a game I do want to see. Both teams are juggernauts. Both teams are great. Concerns for both teams right now would be on the defensive side of the ball. For the Bills, they haven't played awesome on defense most of the year. They're a good defense, but they can be pushed around by by a team with a good offensive line and a good run scheme. And unfortunately for them, Detroit fits the bill like very well. And Detroit's issues are pretty much, it comes down to one thing. Detroit's just banged up right now. I hope that down the stretch before the playoffs, Detroit manages to just get healthy on that side of the ball. Because I think if they're healthy on that side of the ball, I would feel pretty comfortable saying they'll run through the NFC. I don't think that the Eagles are going to be that much of a hindrance to a healthy Detroit team. If Detroit's not healthy and the Eagles are, now we're talking about at least a game. I don't think that the Eagles offense is really, there's just something weird about it. And we all know, obviously, that they're not passing the ball well. And A.J. Brown's coming out and talking about it. And, you know, I mean, hey, if with any luck, he'll have a Deebo Samuel type of game. Thanks for that, Deebo. But, I'll take... Honestly, this is one where I don't have a huge preference on who wins. I am totally cool if both of them win. I think at this point, with Buffalo losing last week, the 1 seed might be out of reach, but that might also mean that they're going to come in and play their asses off in this game because they need to keep Kansas City in range. And Kansas City could definitely, like the way Kansas City plays, you could absolutely tell me that they would lose 3 out of the last 4 and that's possible. Like the way that the Chiefs have been playing, it's possible. Am I predicting that'll happen? Probably not. But Buffalo sure as hell better play like it can happen. But I guess because of that, I'll say I hope Detroit wins because I want them to keep the buffer between them and the Eagles and between them and the Vikings. So I hope Detroit wins this game. Gosh, this is a really tough. This is like a true pick'em. I think Detroit is going to play smash mouth ball control football, and they're going to try to just keep Josh Allen off the field and limit his opportunities. And I think that the Lions defense has more ways to challenge the Bills offense than the Bills defense has to challenge the Lions. So I will take the Lions, although if you were to tell me that Josh Allen's just going to become Superman and dominate this game, I would believe you. So I'm going to take the Lions fully knowing that that one's not super set. Pittsburgh at Philly, another good game. I hope Pittsburgh wins. George Pickens isn't going to play in this game, though. And as a result, I think Philadelphia will win. I like the Steelers a lot. I think they're more disciplined. I think that they're more just... I just prefer the style of team that the Steelers are. I prefer the coach, obviously, Nick Sirianni, or as I like to call him, Dick Sirianni, or Prick Sirianni. Take your pick. Is maybe my least favorite coach in the NFL. I think he's just an absolute tool. But that team is good. Howie Roseman's maybe the best GM in the league, and you could pretty much take any coach not named Urban Meyer and plug them in there, and they would be good, if I had to guess. Or at least they would not be a bad team. But there's something off with the Eagles. And there's been something off since last year, and now people are sort of starting to flare back up again. And I hope that the Eagles implode once again. And I hope it starts this week. But I think the Eagles will win this game, much to my chagrin. But I hope, like with all hope, that Pittsburgh wins. New England at Arizona. Lame game. I hope Arizona wins. I think Arizona will win. Has nothing to do with me liking Arizona. It has everything to do with I want New England to have a high draft pick. I want New England coming out of this draft class with whichever offensive tackle they think is the best, or with Tedero and McMillan out of Arizona. That's what I want for the Patriots, and the Patriots need to have a high pick to do that. So I hope that the Patriots do that. Could the Patriots randomly sneak out a win? Yes. But I hope that they don't. So Arizona, if you're not going to win the NFC West, do me a favor, win this game. Tampa Bay at the Chargers. Tough game. Both these teams, they both are alive for the playoffs still. they both are currently in the playoff picture, but both these teams need to finish strong in order to like close it out. Tampa Bay, I would say I'm a little concerned about their defense, but the Chargers' offense is relatively one-dimensional. Like Justin Herbert's having a great year, but the Chargers' weapons just nobody scares you at all. And if you just stop the Charger run game, you're in a pretty good spot. And I think the Tampa Bay could do that. Whereas against the Buccaneers offense, the Chargers, you're more worried about, I mean, Bucky Irving's been a good player for them. And after he got dinged up last week, Rachaad White came in and played very well. And then obviously Mike Evans is back trying to hit 1,000 yards again. If he does that, he ties Jerry Rice for the record. Which I'm really getting sick of this whole people talking about records right now. We need to start distinguishing like 14 game, 16 game, 17 game eras, because when you're giving guys so much extra time to do it, it's just like we need to have these records set like for their time, because now we're using those things to like compare them between eras of football when it's like the game is so different and you have more time and all the rules favor the offense. So it's way easier to achieve these records. And it's not that it's not impressive. It should be just the record of that phase of the NFL. Like we can't be comparing records set way back now with at least single season records with stuff like that. So, but Mike Evans, I think he's a great player, and he's going to have a big last 4 games. He's got to average over 100 yards a game to get that mark, which sucks because of his injury, but it is what it is. The Chargers are at home. I hope the Chargers win this game. And because they're at home, I'll take them. But I think Tampa Bay is really feisty and fights hard, and I wouldn't be shocked at all if they went into LA and beat them. Green Bay at Seattle. Let me make this very clear. I hope Green Bay wins, and I'm picking Green Bay to win. I don't think the Seahawks are a great team. I think that they've been very fortunate with how their last few games have gone, and I'm taking the Packers, and I think the Packers are going to win by 2 touchdowns. Or at least that's what I hope for. I think Green Bay is going to win. I think they're better coached. I think they're more talented. I think they're more disciplined. I think that Seattle is a pretender, and I will take the Packers all day, every day. The Seahawks path to victory, Jordan Love is going to throw picks. That's the way that the Seahawks would win this game. If they don't, and the Packers simply operate how they normally operate, they're a better run operation than the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm going to take the Packers, even in Seattle. Monday, we got 2 games Monday night. Chicago at Minnesota. I mean, it's an NFC North game, and division games are always tough, but I think Minnesota's going to win this game and win it pretty handily. And I think, you know what, I would actually probably say I hope that Chicago wins because I want Detroit to get a little bit of a buffer on the Vikings, but I don't think there's any chance of it. I think that Minnesota's going to dominate this game probably. I think Chicago's got a chance to embarrass themselves again. So Minnesota's going to win that one. Then Atlanta at Las Vegas. Yeesh. Listen, if Kirk Cousins can't win this game for the Falcons, then they're probably going to start Michael Penix. I think Atlanta's going to win this game, and I hope they do. I mean, listen, if you're a team that's losing to the Las Vegas Raiders right now, like if that's where we're at, yikes. The Raiders are, in my opinion, them or the Giants, you're talking about the worst team in the NFL. And if they find a way to lose this game on Monday Night Football, I mean, that's you got to talk about changes at that point because that's a team you can't be losing to. I suppose you could say, tell me how they lose. Like, do the Falcons just get super banged up in the game, like in the first half, and they're just hamstrung? But anything short of that, I would not be out here accepting a loss to the Raiders. I'm going to take the Falcons. I think I actually just saw on social media today that Max Crosby's like sitting down for the rest of the year with an ankle injury. He's like getting put on injured reserve. So that sucks because he's one of my favorite players in the entire NFL. He's a tough dude. Played through an ankle injury earlier this season. But it sounds like there's like a high ankle sprain, and those usually take 6 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, and when the Raiders season is over, man, it's like, get healthy, dude. He deserves a better organization than this one. So, on to the draft for the Raiders. If you're the Raiders at this point, you probably just want to keep the first overall pick. All indications are, from what I'm hearing, they seem to really like Shedeur Sanders. Cam Ward is the other one who's usually talked about at the top of the draft class for the quarterback position, even though this is a draft that's generally regarded as a lower quality quarterback draft. Like, both the top 2 quarterbacks this year probably would have been quarterbacks 7 and 8 last year, maybe 6 and 8 last year. So it's an interesting one. As the draft process goes on, I think we'll get a much better idea of this. But quarterbacks, even quarterbacks that should not be first-round picks, get inflated because their value's inflated because of the position they play. And while maybe there's only 2 that most people would say could or should go in the first round, my guess is we'll likely see a third because somebody is going to just want to pick one. And I think if you're the Raiders, that's where your focus has got to be. Like, the season's lost. You're a horrible team. Get what you can out of this year, which is the best position possible to take the guy you want. If you're the Raiders, you want the first overall pick, in my opinion. So I'm going to take the Falcons, and that should wrap it up for Week 15 of the 2024 NFL season. I hope everybody has a great day. Football, I hope everybody's team comes out healthy. Once again, Rams fans, congratulations. Go win the division. Niners fans, keep your head up. And everybody else, have a great time. I hope that the teams that are still alive for the playoffs, I hope you guys are able to keep that push going. And the teams that are out, I hope that you just finish the year healthy. So have a great rest of your night or a great rest of your day. And everybody enjoy the day. So have a good one. Hit subscribe, share the video. Peace.